So I had some goodies. Had a little small haul that came in the mail today. So this is an unboxing of some movies that I purchased recently with a little bit of my tax return. I didn't splurge to that much. I don't think. I waited until there were very good deals. These are titles that I've had previously in my collection, but some of you all have seen one of my recent videos. I had to sell pretty much everything I owned in my collection during the pandemic just to be able to get through some of the tougher months where I was struggling financially. So a lot of these are rebuys, and a couple of them are new titles that I haven't owned before. So without further ado, let's check out what I got. This crap out of the way. First up, My Bloody Valentine. Now, I just opened this because there was a disc that was inside that was loose. So I want to make sure that it wasn't damaged or anything. But this was a sealed copy that I got with the sleeve. I own the Anchor Bay release of My Bloody Valentine, but I haven't owned the Scream Factory version of My Bloody Valentine. So I'm very pleased to have this in my collection. Super pumped. Can't wait to check it out. From my understanding, there's like a new transfer with all of the previously cut footage that was in the Anchor Bay film. So the Anchor Bay, when they released it, they included all the uncut footage in there. But when Scream Factory got it, they included the same uncut footage, but they remastered it. So, or it's better quality than the Anchor Bay release. So I'm very excited to check this out. It's got 2 discs, new 4K scan and the visual negative, and then disc 2 is the uncut version with a 4K scan. So that's phenomenal. If anything, it's going to look better than the Anchor Bay release. I ain't going to talk too much more about this. Everybody's seen it before. But yeah, that's the first one. Next up, The Mutilator. Oh, my God. I'm so excited to have this again. This is a sealed release era video. I had this previously, but the only difference is I was first in line when this came out from Arrow when it came out. And I had it pre-ordered. It came with the slipcover. So yeah, if you try to get this now with the slipcover, you're gonna pay an insane amount of money. And I'm just not really into. To be honest with you, if they come with slipcovers, that's great. But if they don't, I'm not sweating it now. I mean, I'm kind of slowly rebuilding my collection, and I'm not trying to fork out a ton of money on movies. So, but I'm definitely pumped to check this out again because it's been a long time since I've watched The Mutilator. It's a really good slasher film. Next up, Final Terror, sealed copy. I know a lot of people haven't heard of this movie or have given it really poor reviews. It's a low body count, backwoods slasher. It's maybe at most got like 4 kills in it, but I find this to be a very fun and very different slasher film. It kind of borderlines on not even being a slasher film, to be honest. It's more or less like a backwoods slasher / survival / kind of like Deliverance. That's pretty much this movie in a nutshell. I just love the scenery, and it's very the cinematography is beautiful in this film. And it's actually one of the slasher films that I reach for more times than not. So I'm very happy to have this film in my collection again, and it was very cheap. So all these movies I got were super cheap, and that's kind of why I bought them. Because I don't have a lot of money to throw around, so I'm getting some of my classics back in my collection without spending a ton of money. So if it's on sale and I missed the movie, I'm going to get it. Next up, Final Exam. Another more obscure slasher film from Scream Factory. They released this a couple years ago along with the Final Terror. They both came out around the same time. There's a lot of people that really don't like this film. I do enjoy it. It's a campus slasher. It's kind of a ripoff of Halloween. You can kind of see by the silhouette of the killer on the cover. It's a Halloween ripoff. Came out in like I think 83 or 82. But there's a lot of complaints about this film. Like they think that people say that the killer has no motive, and they show the killer's face too much. I enjoy this movie. I think the characters are very enjoyable. It's a very fun movie. It's just an enjoyable slasher for me, and I like it a lot. And it was cheap, so I added it back to my collection. Yep, Final Exam. Next up, this is I'm so happy to have this in my collection. everybody, if you followed my channel before, you know I am a diehard fan of Just Before Dawn. I've owned 2 other releases of this, and now this is the 3rd release of this film that I own, okay, or that I've owned. The first release on Blu-ray that I had was the original Code Red release, which went out of print like 4 or 5 years ago, and it was selling for like over $100 when it was out of print. And at the time, it was the only release of this film that was available, was the original Code Red release. And it was like very skimpy, didn't really have that many features on it. And then shortly after that, like a couple years later, 88 Films got a hold of it, and then they took the Code Red film, they doctored it up a little bit, they kept some of the same features. It essentially was the same release, but they slapped on their stuff on it. And I got that one too, so I had those 2 same releases at the same time. And then unfortunately I sold both those, and so I had to replace this in my collection because it's one of my favorite, it's hands down probably my favorite slasher film. If anyone's followed my channel, you know I am a huge defender of Just Before Dawn. This movie is so freaking good. Guys, if you haven't seen this movie before and you're a slasher fan, it's a low body count, but what makes up for it is this film's charm, and the cinematography, kind of like Final Terror, is so freaking good in this movie. The character development, I mean, all that stuff combined is what makes this a good movie. A slasher film doesn't have to have a huge body count for it to be good. It's just got to have really good storytelling, good character development, and for it to keep your attention for the length of the movie. And this film does it. So I'm very excited. Now, this is the 2nd release from Code Red. So I had the original Code Red release, and then that one went out of print like 5 years ago, and then 88 Films had it, and then Code Red got the rights back again, and then they did like another remaster of it. This came out with a new cool slipcase, which I wasn't fortunate enough to get. No big deal, but it's got the new cover art on it, which is pretty cool, and it's got more features on it and a better cut of the film, which I'm really excited to see. So yeah, I'm definitely digging into this tonight. Another one of my favorites is the Prowler from Blue Underground. I love the Prowler. It holds up there with Just Before Dawn as one of my favorite slasher films. This one gets a bad rap too. A lot of people say it's boring or it's slow, and a lot of the complaints is that besides Tom Savini in this movie, his special effects and his gore effects are so top-notch in this movie. Guys, if you want a gory slasher film and with top-notch gore effects, Tom Savini, this is one of his earlier works. He does a phenomenal job, and I would highly recommend checking it out. It's one of my favorite slasher films from 1981, the heyday of the slasher films. The Prowler delivers. I love this film. I'm really hoping that Blue Underground re-releases this in 4K. Blue Underground has been surprising me lately, and they have been releasing a lot of these older titles that they've had out for a long time. This film isn't out of print. They still have the rights to this. And there's been a lot of speculation that they might remaster this in 4K. And you know what? I'm going to go out and get it. This film, I would double dip, triple dip, quadruple dip for this film. It's that good. I love this film. But anyways, that was another one that I had in my collection previously. Sleepaway Camp. It's a sealed copy, but I guess it got teared a little bit. Not a big deal. Another phenomenal camp slasher film. This one, what can I say about Sleepaway Camp? I've done a review on it before. It's a phenomenal film. It's got the surprise ending, which is kind of what makes this film. I wouldn't say it's a top 5 slasher. I've never really felt like Sleepaway Camp has gotten that credit, but it's definitely an entertaining slasher film. It will take you from beginning to end, and you won't lose your attention in the movie. It's a fun movie to watch. But I had to pick it up. It was a good deal, and I owned it previously with the slipcover. So once again, I'm getting this film again without the slipcover. But when it comes down to it, guys, hey, would you rather pay $50 for a film with a slipcover, or would you rather get 3 films that you really enjoy, the same exact films, they just don't have slipcovers? So would you rather have 3 or 1? That's the way that I'm looking at it, guys. I'm just not in the market anymore to get slipcovers, unless they come with them. That's my opinion. Last but not least, Slumber Party Massacre. Phenomenal film. This is hands down a top 5 for me. I love this film. I think it's very true. It's very different for a slasher film. It's got the driller killer. It's kind of like a unique style for the slasher killer in this movie. It's a very scandalous slasher film. It's got a ton of nudity and a ton of just really trashy, borderline pornographic scenes in this movie. And it's surprisingly, if you've seen my review, or I talked about this in the past on my channel, this movie was directed by a female, and she was a woman that was huge on feminist empowerment. And she actually kind of made this movie as a mockery to slasher films and how they mistreat women and do, X, Y, and Z. But little did she know that her mockery of the subgenre, of the slasher subgenre, would turn into such a cult classic. And she was just basically feeding into exactly what slasher fans are looking for in their movies. They want to see people get killed. They love sleazy girls, scantily clad women. They love TNA, and this film delivers. And I'm so excited to add it to my collection again. So, quick little recap. These are all the films I got: Slumber Party Massacre, Sleepaway Camp, The Prowler, Just Before Dawn, hell yeah, The Final Exam, The Final Terror, The Mutilator. I'm really excited to watch that again tonight. And last but not least, My Bloody Valentine, the only one that I got with a slipcover, and I got a hell of a deal on this one. A hell of a deal. I think I paid like $22 for this. Like, you cannot beat this. Scream Factory, this has been out for over a year now, and Scream Factory's slipcovers get basically out of print, or you can't even find them within like 3 months. Like, if you don't order this and pre-order it within the first 3 months of the release, good luck trying to find a slipcover. That's how rare they become. And then they charge like $50 for a freaking out of print slipcover. It's insane. So to get this for $22 and for it to be sealed, and the only thing I did was open it up to make sure the disc wasn't damaged. I mean, you can't beat it. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this little unboxing. I'm still getting my channel together. I'm still getting my little space put together. So I'm sorry I'm not doing a traditional intro to my channel. I don't have that set up yet, but I promise you in the coming weeks, maybe even up to a month, I don't know a time frame yet, but I'm going to be getting things together, and I'm going to show you where I'm at, and my channel is going to have a very different feel to it. But I'm going to be very honest and fair and respectful to my fans that have followed me in the past. So there's going to be a lot of the same elements that I've done with previous videos in the past, but I'm also going to be bringing a very new spin to my channel that I hope the old fans of my channel are going to enjoy, but also I'm going to branch out to some newer stuff that I've always wanted to do. And I feel like this new representation of my channel is going to be like a 80s love child. And that's the way I'm looking at it. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. And until next time, guys, take it easy.